Hello everyone, my name is Benny Ferguson, and the title of this video is called Integrating the Parts. And this is a corporate solution for organizations or businesses of any size. I had a friend of mine approach me recently, and she was disturbed about the organization that she works with. It's a service organization, and she said that right now they are utilizing a company, a large, very large company, that offers surveys and lots of different ways to address customer service issues. They're seeing that or feeling that their customer service is lacking, or the quality is not what they would like it to be. And as she told me about that, I asked her a few questions, and then she also told me about how the tension within the organization is, and how it feels like the different departments from the different departments inside of the organization seem to be pulling against each other. And they don't really collaborate like they should. Their communication is not what it should. And she just asked for what I thought, and I was telling her that that's the issue. Customer service is suffering because of the culture of the organization is not an empowered one. And what needs to happen is that the parts need to be integrated, and it's an issue. None of these issues stand alone. It's an issue of leadership. It's an issue of again, communication and the collaboration between the different departments in the organization. And one of the first things that needs to be done is that you have strong leadership, obviously in these different departments, and their focus is on each other. What this department is not doing, what's going on with this department, rather than focusing on themselves and how well they can do, or how well they can do as individuals. My children, and I like it too, they watch a cartoon called Dragon Ball Z, if any of you are familiar with it. And two of the main characters are Goku and Vegeta. Now, when the cartoon first started, Goku and Vegeta were enemies. And what happened is they actually became friends after having to fight so many different enemies, strong enemies that they had in common. But they always had this idea that one day we're gonna fight again to see who's the strongest. But there's a number of different seasons, a number of different parts to this cartoon, but they never were able to fight against each other, because they always had a common enemy that they had to fight. Well, the departments in this organization that we're talking about were fighting against each other. And the way that you not necessarily have a common enemy, but the way that you take their focus off of each other is to reorient them to the mission and the vision of the organization. That's what's been forgotten. You reorient them to the vision and the mission of the organization, so that their focus is now on, okay, how can I provide the greatest service? How can I do the best job of or what's required of me, and as far as leading my department and all the people that I'm responsible for, so that we can do the absolute best that we can to support the mission and the vision of the organization. And that takes their eyes off of each other and puts it back on the main thing, which is the service that the organization is providing for its patients, for its clients. From there, once they have reset their focus, the next thing you want to do is you have to appeal to their selfishness, per se. And I say it that way because years ago I was in an organization, and I was responsible for about 50 employees. We had 3 different locations. One here in Winston-Salem. We had a location in a city, Salisbury, a city about 30 minutes from here, and another city about Statesville, 30 minutes from here. I was responsible for the two locations outside of Winston, but I was also responsible in large part for all of the employees. And one of the things that I did, or philosophy that I led by as a young guy, mid-20s, was that I already know, and I'm sure that none of the employees, nobody that was working with me, was going to retire from there. They weren't going to be there the rest of their life. I just knew that. And so my approach was, how can you learn everything you need to learn? How can you be absolutely brilliant in your position now, so that when you leave, when it's time for you to go, when it's time for you to move on in your life and your journey, your growth and expansion of who you are, that you are a shining star to the next place that you go, to the next job that you take, the next move that you make in your life. How can you be absolutely brilliant right now, a brilliant player on the team that you're on right now, and grow and get everything that you need to know and learn everything that you can, so that you can be a shining star to the next organization you move on to? That was my philosophy. And I instilled that in everyone, and I worked with everyone to make sure that they accomplished everything that they needed to accomplish, that they envisioned, that they wanted to accomplish, and as far as the team that they were a part of at the moment. And everyone shined. Everyone did a fantastic job as far as I'm concerned, and as far as the role that they played in the organization. And everyone that I can name and I can think of right now that went on, they were highly regarded in their positions, and they're still highly regarded. They were sought after individuals when they left us to move on to new and greater positions, new and greater responsibility, which is what I attempted to set them up for. So you appeal to your leadership's self-interest as to what can you do now as a leader to be brilliant in your position, to make your department brilliant, and in doing so, lift the organization to new heights of employee morale, of the culture of the organization, which in turn will increase the level of customer service, the relationships that we have with our patients, with our clients, with the family of our patients, with our suppliers, with our vendors, with everyone associated with the organization. It's going to improve the reputation of the organization in the community. All of these things are affected by me as a leader choosing to be the absolute best that I can and focusing on that. Me as a leader focusing on my department, the people that I'm responsible for, and making sure that they're the absolute best that they can be, and focusing on that. And one of the things I told my friend that I was talking to, I said, if I were to come in and work with you, what I would do is I would outline all of these things, and how what's going on now is affecting the organization, how all these different departments and parts of the organization are suffering, and how when you change the focus of the leadership, and then as the information is disseminated down to each of their departments and their employees as to focusing on them as individuals being the absolute best that they can be, we would run a test. And I would run a test, and it could be just for one day, or not even a whole day, for half the day, and explain to everyone that's going to be working that day, from the time that you come in until lunchtime. Say it's 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. From 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock, we're going to monitor, and afterward we're going to evaluate what we saw, the energy, the emotion, the intensity, the quality of each individual in their position, and how it affected the organization, how it affected the relationships with the clients and the patients that came through and that they worked with. And I would want everyone from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock for 4 hours to try to be the absolute best that you could be, that you can envision in your mind. What can you envision? What do you envision your position, your part of the team, your role in the department, your role in the organization? What is the highest vision that you have, that you can formulate in your mind of who you or could and should be? And I want you to be that. as an individual. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Don't worry about how people are going to respond to you. Don't worry about how the clients or the patients are going to respond to you. How can you be the absolute best that you can be? What does it look like? What do you need to do to be brilliant at your position? And for 4 hours, from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock, hypothetically, do that. That's your sole responsibility, is to be brilliant at what you do for 4 hours. And we would monitor, and then afterward, myself and leadership would evaluate what we saw. And ladies and gentlemen, that would change everything about the organization. Communication would increase. Relationships between colleagues would increase. It would be forced to. Relationships with the patients' families, clients' families would increase. If everyone focused on being brilliant at their position, relationships with your suppliers, with your vendors, your reputation in the community, all of these things will be byproducts of a focus on an individual focus of being brilliant, of being absolutely fantastic in your position. There would be a ripple effect. And approaching or talking to the leadership and appealing to their self-interest, the organization as a whole is a reflection of the leadership. And if the organization is performing brilliantly as a whole, what does that mean for you when you get ready to move on, or when you're approached for a new position, greater responsibility, greater income, or if you're actively looking for a new position? What does that mean for you when the organization that you're a part of now, when the organization that you are in the process of leaving is doing fantastic as a result of your being there, as a result of you choosing to be brilliant at what you do, no matter what's going on around you? What does the organization as a whole look like? And how much more valuable would you be to the next organization that is looking at you? It's very simple to me. It would be very simple to me. The problem, again, is integrating the parts. That's the problem. You don't need surveys and all that stuff to, survey your patients or survey your clients to see, how they feel and what they think and all those type things. It's an individual problem. It's an inside problem. It's a problem of culture. It's an issue of leadership. It's an issue of focus. And when you start with the top and go top down in the organization, where everybody focuses on being brilliant at what they're responsible for, being fantastic at what they're responsible for, and then allowing that to disseminate down by the leadership being the example, and that this is who we are, this is what we expect, and I'm going to lead by example. Everything changes. Everything changes. If quality is suffering in your organization, if the level of customer service is suffering in your organization, it's an issue of mindset. It's an issue of thought. It's an issue of focus. It's an issue of the vision that is being carried on the inside, in the minds of leadership and in the minds of those that they're responsible for. And when you change that vision, when you change the focus from being on each other to what is the mission of our organization, and how can I be brilliant in my position with the focus of the mission, with the mission of the organization being my focus? How can I be brilliant in my position, me as an individual? And how can I work with my team to be brilliant, for each of them to be brilliant in their position? If you think about a sports team, in conclusion, if you think about a sports team, say football, for example, the offense and the defense both have 11 players, and they will operate as a team. But each individual player has to do their job. They are only responsible for their position. And the team is only as successful as each individual can play. Now, if this Sunday, if it's the NFL and this Sunday the quarterback plays horribly, the whole team suffers. If the running back plays horribly, the whole team suffers. It comes down to the individual play of those on the team. In your organization, it comes down to the individual play of the people in your department or on your team or your individual leaders. And it comes back to, again, what's their focus? What are they focused on? Are they focused on each other and what's going wrong? Are they focused on the mission and the vision of the organization and how they can be fantastic in their position, in their role, and cause the people that they're responsible for to be fantastic as individuals in their role, and let that as a community, as a culmination of everyone working together, affect the organization to be magnificent. That's what happened. Each individual as a collective unit coming together as a whole, doing their individual job, individual position, focused on themselves, being the best that they can. And that, it doesn't add together. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's an exponential effect. It's an exponential effect. And again, it ripples across all areas, the culture, leadership. It affects your customer service, the quality of your customer service. It affects all of those things. Operating expense due to low quality service, low quality performance. Your operating expenses go down because of the nature of the focus now. Increased revenue. You've got word of mouth playing in your favor. You've got your reputation increasing. You've got all these things. You've got recognition going on because of the quality of service, because of the quality of the delivery of your products or whatever is offered in your organization. You've got revenues going up because of the focus change, because of the quality that's delivered on an individual basis. You've got expenses going down for the same reason. Very simple. Very simple. It doesn't require all of these surveys. It doesn't require money spent, people coming in, looking at all these different things, when it comes back to the human factor. The human factor in your organization. It comes down to their focus. It comes down to their mindset. It comes down to their mental and emotional states. It comes down to who they are choosing to be in the organization. And no matter where you are now, you could be your organization, or how well it's doing or how terrible it's doing. It could be magnificent. It could be magnificent if those things are in place. If your team, your department has the correct mental and emotional state guided by the mission and the vision of the organization, it could be magnificent. And integrating the parts. That was the example. The solution is integrating the parts. If you hear anything in there that is an issue or a challenge in your organization, the answers are simple. But you need someone who understands how to go about bringing a resolution to those challenges. And again, it doesn't involve a whole lot of surveys, money spent on all of these different things. It comes down to the human factor every time. Integrating the parts. This is a corporate solution. My name is Benny Ferguson. This is a point of power. Thank you.